Gretsch, Gretsch, Gretsch. Gretsch Drums, which was founded by Frederick Gretsch in 1883, is a well-respected manufacturer of drums, guitars, and other sorts of instruments. I remember when I got my first Gretsch snare drum. A special thanks to Sweetwater for the snare drum. It was a Brooklyn stainless steel snare drum. To be honest with you, I didn't really like it, as the throw-off broke on me in about 2 months of using it, and I had to constantly replace the heads. Tuning it was a bit of a nightmare also. So I just sold it off and moved forward when I bought my bell brass snare drum. But I decided recently I wanted to get a new snare drum because I had sold off my bell brass due to the fact that it was extremely heavy. Remember, this was a 25-pound drum, and I could not lug it with me to gigs because I was still recovering from hernia surgery. So I was looking around, seeing what I could find for around $700 when I saw a used Gretsch USA custom solid steel snare drum you see in front of you. That was posted on Reverb by the Drum Center of Portsmouth. Special thank you to the Drum Center of Portsmouth. At first, I was not sure if I wanted because of my horrible experience with the last snare drum I got that was made by Gretsch. But after a few videos, I decided I'd pull the trigger and bought the snare drum. Well, now it's been a few months of use, and like I say, this snare drum is awesome. It just has so much power behind it, and it has a good bit of tone with it too. But before we get into that, I just want to say a special thank you to our sponsor, Soul Tone Cymbal. Soul Tone Cymbals is the best sounding cymbals I have ever had the pleasure to play. I tell everyone I know who is a drummer or percussionist, if you want to get some soul back into your playing, you need to get yourself a set of cymbals from Soul Tone. They make a wide range of cymbals from the Abbey to the Roma series. In my personal opinion, I really love the Abbeys, as that's what I currently use. And you can get yourself a set of those today using the link below in the video or visiting the website www.soultonecymbals.com. Now, back to the review. This snare drum is a cast steel shell that is 5mm thick, for which then the middle is carved out to create a 3mm center, similarly to other custom-built bell bronze snare drums, which then it gets a 45-degree bearing edge cut into it with a machined wide snare bed, which then it gets Gretsch's signature permatone drum heads attached with heavy die-cast tubes, and is finished off with 42-strand snare wires, which helps give it that vintage look and sound. But then it's topped off with a black chrome finish, which really makes the drum stand out like a Ludwig Black Beauty. But enough of me talking about this drum. Let's hear what it sounds like. What a crazy sound. I really enjoyed the head choice they made here because that center dot allows for a massive sound, but without allowing a ton of overtones to flood the drum. And those 42 strand snare wires really help give that fatness that the bell bronze or bell brass snare drums are known for. But now let's hear it with brushes. Just unbelievable. Even with brushes, that fat sound stays with it. Although I do think that some of the overtones would help it stand out a little bit more with brushes, but that's just my personal taste. I think this drum is great. So now let me hand it off to the video me to finish this video off with the conclusion. So, to finish off the review of the snare drum, I really do believe that it's some of the best you can get for the money, honestly. $800 may seem like a lot, but I promise you, that $800's being spent on a really great snare drum. From like how the finish looks, and I'm getting my fingerprints all over it. To like the chrome hardware, the tension rods. I really love the die cast tubes. Those are amazing. I don't know if those is steel or zinc. I'm not quite sure. It could be aluminum. My only caveat to this snare really is the tension rods tend to spin out a lot easier when you're doing a lot of heavy rim shotting and detune the snare pretty quickly. Now, it's gotten me some great effects over time, but personally, I find it to get annoying after a while of just constantly having to retune the snare drum. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, if I had to decide what I would rate this, I would have to rank it at 8 out of 10. I would give it a 9 out of 10, but because of that constant spinning out and having to retune it, and also the throw off, I despise the throw off, honestly. Just, if you couldn't tell from earlier, I really despise it. So that's why it's getting 8 out of 10. If they would just redesign the throw off and just not have this, this is bulky and unnecessary. Just a small thin metal piece to go back and forth is all it really needs. I like the butt plate idea, which is like a thin metal piece right here that just goes off and on instead of this big hunking thing that is dependent on one little piece of metal to hold it. I feel like the snare drum would be much better. I'd be more willing to give it a 10 out of 10, but as it stands, it's 8 out of 10. Great sounding snare drum. You can't go wrong with it. So I appreciate everyone for getting this far into the video. If you like my content, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the share button. I would love to see you share it with your friends and your family, your loved ones, your drumming buddies, your whatever music buddies you've got. And stay tuned, because I've got a new snare drum that I purchased recently, and I think you're really gonna like it, because it's in the same vein as all the classic bell bronze snare drums. But until then, this is AJ signing out. Have a blessed day.